all is not lost for Airtel in the war over net neutrality. At a time when online biggies like Flipkart are pulling out of preferential deals with telecom vendors, the telecom regulator TRAI has come out in support of the industry. Sources tell ET now that TRAI has given a clean chit to the Airtel Zero plan, saying that it's not violating any rule. The move comes at a time when more online players like Cleartrip are opting out of such preferential deals.
But the debate doesn't quite end here. TRAI says that telecom operators may have reasons to be worried about the backlash over innovative schemes, especially after paying top dollar for spectrum. It also says one needs to put clear guidelines in place before pulling the plug on telecom operators. It's a war to protect the net, a battle against any plans to put the World Wide Web on a leash. And for telecom operators, it is a battle that will define business viability. But amidst the growing clamour for net neutrality, telecom regulator TRAI is clear. Telcos have done no wrong. In fact, sources say right now, the regulator cannot even intervene. Top sources in the regulatory authority do tell ET now that Airtel Zero, Bharti Airtel's latest offering that really started the huge debate, cannot be banned as there are currently no rules that govern net neutrality here in India. So while this may be bad news for over 50 million netizens, it's a huge shot in the arm for Indian telecom, which has come under immense criticism for being perceived to be blocking the online freedom.
We stand committed to the product. We are actually quite disappointed by the amount of criticism on this, because it's a very simple product. Finally, if you make stuff free for the customer, it's a great thing to actually get people on the internet. This cannot be a conversation which is being driven by the rich versus the poor.
Sources say telecom companies reeling under huge debt burden and saddled with huge spectrum costs have no option but to raise data tariffs. And TRAI or the government cannot intervene due to forbearance. The issue has now become a topic of immense speculation and is likely to see closure only when TRAI finalizes its recommendations on this particular issue. So even though there may be close to 2 lakh emails sent to Rahul on the matter, the regulator is likely to issue guidelines that forbid what telecom operators can do rather than prescribing what they actually should. So even as the debate continues on what telcos should and should not charge customers for browsing the net, bracing up for a hike in data tariffs will be a wise move perhaps. With Gauri Dwivedi, Supriya Srinath, ET Now, New Delhi. So we stay on with that big debate, and we're joined by two very eminent people, Mohandas Pai, former CFO at Infosys, and TV Ramachandran, the man who's been in telecom for decades now and is now the chairman of Assocham Telecom Council. Thanks very much, both of you, for being with us. Mr. Pai, if I may begin talking to you about TRAI's position, that seems to suggest, at least that's the information that we've brought to our viewers, that there is nothing fundamentally wrong with products like Airtel Zero or Internet.org. What is your view on this entire matter?
See, my view is that there's a lot of hype on net neutrality all over the place. And there's a great degree of anger among the consumers because they're not getting the service they paid for right now. And there is a fear by entering into new arrangements with large customers, very small companies, and the rest of us who are not willing to go along will be shut out of the net or will get very bad service. I think there is a need for a debate on this topic from both sides without any emotion, without any stated position, so that each positions will be understood by everybody. It is good for TRAI to call all the people who want net neutrality to meet with the TRAI, discuss with them and thrash it out so that the positions of users become very clear, the position of telcos become very clear, and there is a reasoned debate. Right now, everybody is upset, everybody is angry, and they're putting on the pressure against the telcos and TRAI. So there's a need for us to pause back and to get the contours of the debate done very well.
Right. Let's get a word from you, Mr. Ramachandran. Do you believe in many ways that the TRAI's position on net neutrality validates the stand of telcos?
I would say, in fact, there's so much of lack of understanding or misunderstanding on the subject. It's amazing, really. I'm getting very surprised at this. I would like to say that such plans, it's not just TRAI which says that. You would be amazed, Sandeep, FCC, which are so strong on all net neutrality, everything. I will straight away quote from FCC that such subsidized, zero rating, sponsored data plans, as they call them, such new service offerings, depending on how they are structured, could benefit consumers and competition. And that's what we are saying. For India, in our Indian conditions, the way to structure these data plans, this zero rating plan or zero plan platform, is actually pro-consumer, pro-competition, very good for India. The opposite is being projected.
Right, but Mr. Ramachandran, you saying it is pro-consumer. The overwhelming majority of those who use stuff online are opposing it. What's really happening there then?
No, I will come to you. Overwhelming is what? Are your 900 million subscribers overwhelmingly opposing it? No. 600 million subscribers, unique subscribers opposing it? I don't think so. Who are opposing it? There are three categories of people in this dispute, which is a fact. Telcos, who are commercial in business, obviously. They have set up a telco network. They are having a infrastructure, spectrum, and providing service, and meeting all the government obligations of taxes, license fees, spectrum usage charges, quality of service, etc., etc. All those are being complained, legal monitoring aspects, security aspects, everything they are meeting. And that is one category. So that's a commercial entity, no doubts on that. Secondly, you've got the end consumer. He is not commercial. He is like you and me using it. So that is a genuine netizen, absolutely non-commercial user. The third, the in-between, is the content. It's a two-sided market. And content provider is in the middle. Content provider is the one who is not subject to taxes, is not subjected to laws, who doesn't have security requirements, he doesn't pay any license fees, no spectrum usage charges. I can go on and on. The lack of level playing field there. So he's actually taking a free ride on the system. The telco is running a train. I am calling the second category of commercial users taking a ticketless travel on this train. The legitimate passengers on that are the end users, consumers. So what is being projected here is a gross misrepresentation that consumers are getting disadvantaged by it. It's actually beneficial for consumers, because if this is not corrected, the consumers' costs will remain as they are or not reduce, may even go up, which these people are not bothered about. What I'm saying, in India, in such a poor country where there is so little basic voice connectivity is not there for 40% of the population. Data connectivity is not there for 80% of the population. In such a country, our job is to get connectivity to everybody, not have the affluent subsidized by the poor people. This is what will happen. We should not promote ticketless travel here.
Right. Mr. Pai, let's get you in here, because, even content providers like Flipkart, Cleartrip have pulled out of these arrangements because they now believe that these deals could violate the principles of net neutrality. Do you believe now that telecom operators also need to revisit these deals right now?
I think the telcos did it all wrong, and Airtel did it all wrong. They should not have branded this service and said, if you buy this service, this will be done. The way that they could have used is possibly to tell large users that if you want to subsidize your customers, you're free to do so. And that will be a credit to the customer, and everybody gets the same service. So as far as we are concerned, Flipkart will pay for some use, and consumers will pay for use, and others will pay whatever they're paying right now. So the consumers are not affected at all, and maybe some big people will come and pay for you. So, there's something that they could have done and asked Flipkart and others to give whatever service they want, because it's their right to compete and their right to do things. But instead of that, they went and branded a service, offered a platform, and tried to bundle things and tried to tell to consumers. I think that's where they went wrong. Suppose, let us say Flipkart comes and says, we are willing to give 2 million net connections free of cost on Airtel, free of cost for 1 year. All you have to do is sign on with us and come and register, and we'll give it to you free of cost. Then can anybody object? Is it a selling tactic? Is it a business tactic? And if Flipkart wants to do it, it could work. But if Airtel does it and says, Flipkart, you join with me, everybody joins with me, I'm going to bundle that, and I'm going to give you something much greater, then it becomes a very, very big issue.
There's an obvious discontent with telecom operators here. There's no denying that. Mr. Ramachandran, I'm going to come back to you, because even content providers like a Flipkart or Cleartrip are pulling out because they believe that pacts like these, the ones with Airtel Zero or Internet.org, fundamentally violate the principles of net neutrality. Let's face it, the telcos on this matter, you and I may not agree, but they are isolated on this one.
I don't deny them their view. It is their opinion, but they are not substantiated. It's a feeling. In the future, it may happen or this or that. Okay, hypothetically, anything can happen in the future. To control that, you've got systems, you've got government, you've got a regulator. Today, here and now, this is the right way to go for India. It promotes India, Indian telecom requirements. It is beneficial for the end user. That's what I am fighting for. I don't want to talk of hypothetical fears and deprive the end consumer today of what he is entitled to. If he is going to get free calling, it is the equivalent of toll-free calling. It's absolutely the parallel, mirror image of that. There also telco, here also telco. There also an end marketer who wants to market a product, to market his business, here is the same content provider. There also end consumer who is getting toll-free calls, he is benefiting, so he is ordering the product. So why are we getting so het up about this here?
Right, but you know, aren't such plans? Let's face it, Mr. Ramachandran, aren't such plans fundamentally discriminatory in nature? Because you know it's always going to favor the big operator, the big content provider who has enough cash with him, and it is going to be biased against smaller developers, smaller applications.
No, tell me how it is discriminatory. Let me begin at the beginning. I think that understanding needs to be. Today, people can access any site except the legally impermissible sites. That nobody will quarrel. Those sites nobody can access because that's a government requirement. Except that anybody can access anything. How do you access? You buy an internet pack or subscribe to a data plan, pay the regulated data charges or whatever specified data charges, and you can access any site. That is the situation today, here and now. You cannot quote me a single instance where somebody is blocking a site for commercial reason. I can challenge the opposite side to come up with that. Number two, so there is no discrimination. That is going to continue. Same charges are going to continue. End users today are paying a certain rate of data usage. That is also continuing. What is extra then coming in? What is coming in is a new platform. And there we are saying, whoever wants to come, and everybody is open there. There is no discrimination. I'm not saying only A can come and B can't come. I'm saying anybody can come in there. If you come in there, then we'll give the data usage free for our subscribers. So any new entrant or any existing content provider, if he comes on, he gets a tremendous advantage of consumer going for his product. His costs of marketing are reduced. His universe is opened up. Now, I mean, that's a golden way to promote entrepreneurship in this country.
Well, I think that's exactly the argument which is fueling fears of telcos acting like Big Brother. But Mr. Pai, if I may ask you, isn't that fear a little unfounded, or do you believe there is a bit of a rationale behind that fear?
No, I think the fear has got a very strong basis, because yesterday I was in a debate and somebody said that for YouTube, they were squeezing access to the videos of YouTube. And I was shocked because, you know, yes, and I realized that when I use YouTube too, I could not get access. It took a longer time. I am on one of the biggest telcos in India, and it was not like earlier when I could get easier access. So I don't know what they're doing in the back end, whether any abuse is happening. So there is a fear and distrust and mistrust of the big telcos ganging up together, monopolizing. And you can see how they raise prices together. The plans are very similar. And TRAI has failed to improve the service quality. They come out with some bogus audit report saying that, oh, everything is honky-dory, whereas all users know is not honky-dory. I mean, you just ask somebody to come and tell you whether they're getting the service and the bandwidth for which they pay. I'm sure the majority of consumers say we're not getting it. There are too many call drops, we're very unhappy about the service, blah, blah, blah. And the telcos have done nothing to improve the service. Neither has TRAI punished them for service in an open manner. TRAI has not stood for the consumers except to beat up people on price, come out with papers. They have not been effective.
We leave it at that. I can tell you this is a never-ending debate, and all we can say is that we at ET Now are going to cover every twist and turn of that fascinating debate as it unfolds. Mohandas Pai, TV Ramachandran, thank you so much for joining in and putting things in perspective on this debate.
Sandeep. Nice talking to you.
Right here
on
Business Tonight. Thanks so much, gentlemen.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNow Live. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.